stop for toilet break, yeah. And after that, we take a boat, visit the island, yeah. We visit the Unicorn Island, yeah. Unicorn Island.
Hey guys, welcome to Venturing in Vietnam Part 4. I'm recording this actually on day 5, so I'm in my new hostel on day 5, but I'm not going to talk about that now for continuity. Continuity, that's the word, isn't it? Yeah, continuity issues. So I'm going to talk about day 4, which was actually yesterday. While I'm on this trip to Vietnam, I'm trying not to spend too much money, and I've budgeted myself in to see a bit of a challenge here. Let's see if I can do it. If I can make the money that I drew out before I left London, make it last for the whole experience. I don't think I'll be able to do it because of hostel costs, etc. But I'm going to try my best to budget myself. And I have paid for like the train tomorrow and various other things already on my card. So there are certain things that I think could make it a possibility. But yeah, so while I'm on this trip, I'm trying to budget as much as I can. That's not to say that I'm eating nothing but like drinking water and one piece of fruit a day to save money, or that I'm scrimping and scraping, I'm making up words now, to mean that I don't spend any money. But what I'm saying is I'm just being careful. I'm not buying souvenirs. I don't really do souvenirs anyway, so that's okay. And I'm just buying what I need to buy. So I'm not doing lots of the really expensive tour and touristy things that they have on offer that are like $45 per person. I think if you're here for 2 weeks and you want to do that and that's your thing, then that's great. But for me, $45 is far too expensive for a tour. But I did manage to find in my hostel a day tour to the Mekong Delta, which is an area. I'm picturing the Vietnamese map now, and it's right down the bottom there, and it's known as the River City because it's got lots of rivers and lots of tiny little islands, etc. And I managed to get that for $8, which I thought was amazing because they pick you up from your hostel at 7:30 and they drop you off at 6 o'clock. And so I did that yesterday, and it was incredible, and I've got so much footage to show you guys. So the journey was 2 hours down by coach. We stopped off a little way. One thing about being in Vietnam, and this is probably for lots of places, but obviously they're trying to make as much money as possible. So the tour guide for both this trip and the trip on the Cu Chi tunnels I did 2 days ago, same guy, will stop off at somewhere along the way that's not related to the tour, but will want you to go in, have a little experience, and then buy something. So we stopped off at this factory that was basically producing bamboo and coconut things like scarves, t-shirts, etc. And come on, buy a scarf, buy this, buy that. So we stopped off there for a little while, but that was okay. Ended up speaking to a couple of girls, one of which was called Jennifer, and she was from London. So every girl from London is called Jennifer now in my mind, and that was nice. So spoke to them, ended up spending the day with them and many other girls. And then we headed off. Now the first thing we did when we arrived in the Mekong Delta is we went to a little island called Unicorn Island. Now I was hoping to see not actual unicorns, I'm not that silly, but I was hoping to see something related to its name. But they've got loads of islands there. They've got Unicorn Island, Turtle Island, and they don't have those things on the island or anything that associates those names with the places. But we ended up riding down the river on the little boats with our Vietnamese hats on, and that was such a lovely experience. The only thing that was spoiled by was the fact that towards the end, just as we were getting to get off, the tour guide had told us before we got on that if we wanted to tip them at the end for good work, then we could do so. And obviously I know a lot of people wouldn't be very generous and they wouldn't tip, so the people that are rowing the boat obviously want to make a little bit of money. It's probably their job, it's what they do. So I know they're probably going to be a little bit pushy, but I just found the man on my boat at the back was rather rude about it. So just before we got off the boats, he was just like, hello, hello, hello. And I thought, oh, you're talking to me. And then he was like, money, pay. And I was thinking, I actually had money ready to pay you and now I don't want to pay you. I ended up giving the money to the lady. She wasn't particularly very thankful either, but you know. But the amazing thing about these boats, and I'll show you the footage now, is that they were riding sometimes 3 boats in a row, and not once did any of the boats like touch or even skim each other, and they were going around bends and trying to, it was just amazing. They obviously done it so many times, they're experts, and that was a lovely little treat to start the trip off. So just check out my footage of me on this boat rocking that sexy Vietnamese hat. So after going down that river, we ended up on the Unicorn Island, and that's where we did various things. So first of all, people tried to sell us honey, basically. It was a bee farm, a very, very small bee farm. I only saw one little box of bees, so there must have been more somewhere. I don't know the ethical background of those bees and how they're looked after, and it was just fascinating to have a look at the bees, and I got to hold some bees. I keep saying bees, so that was really, really good. And then we had a little walk through to a coconut factory, and in the coconut factory we saw from the coconut all the way up until these little tiny candy coconut sweets and how they were made, and it was really, really fun. The factory smelled amazing, and I ended up buying myself and my boyfriend a couple of packs because we kind of like coconut a little bit.
I tell you, I should introduce you how the lady say take off the shell out of the coconut fruit. She look very strong. Okay, I call her like my mom, mommy, mother. Yeah, mother different from different father. Cái này là công đoạn lột dừa nha, dừa khô. When we say lột dừa, don't take off the coconut. Yeah. Wow. Hello.
April, we're in Terry's hometown.
The only thing I didn't really enjoy was we went to, part of the tours, we went to this island to have dinner, and I mean, I oppose any animal being eaten for food. That's just my way of thinking. I don't believe a pig is any less than a cat, a dog, etc. But this particular place really, really went out there in trying to come up with a variety of different meats that you wouldn't see on an average menu. So this particular place served ostrich, eel, crocodile, turtle, you name it, they sold it. And so when I had my lunch, I didn't actually have anything. They managed to bring me out 3 pieces of fried tofu, but it was pretty bland. And unfortunately they had a crocodile farm there as well, and you'll see some footage now of these crocodiles. There was probably about 200 of them in this small little pen, and it wasn't until we were leaving that we noticed at the back there was a massive one, which I think is perhaps the one that was going to be used next for the meal. So it was quite sad. There wasn't anything I could do. I wasn't paying any money for this seeing these crocodiles, so all I could really do was appreciate the beauty that they were and just think, oh, if I could go in there and save you, except I wouldn't go in there because I would be their mood. I would be their food. yesterday I did lots of amazing things, lots of boat trips, caught a little bit of sun but not too much. My tan is going, so I need to get that back on this holiday. And no, oh my goodness. So that lasted the full day, got back at 6 o'clock, was pretty shattered. And my new friend said, hey, why don't we go out for a meal? A meal. And we'd just driven past a vegan restaurant, and I haven't seen one of those yet. I'm not sort of scouting out vegan restaurants because I know they're more expensive. So I'm trying to eat street food and cheaper stuff. But this vegan restaurant, I thought, oh yeah, let's go to a vegan restaurant. Oh my God. I'm so excited. I think yesterday the highlight of my day was the vegan restaurant. Okay, everything in there was vegan, as you'd expect, but every single animal on the planet you can think of, they veganized it. And you're going to see some footage of and look closely, maybe watch them a few times, of the freezer section at the back that you could also buy from after you'd eaten your meal. They had everything. They had vegan crocodile, pig's feet, every different type, like mackerel, cod, salmon, but veganized. I've never seen more vegan versions of things in my life. If you took every single vegan alternative that you can find in London, double that, you might have an idea of just how many vegan meat alternatives that place had. Unbelievable. They had vegan chicken eggs. They were actually vegan eggs. And they were vegan. I first of all thought that perhaps they didn't understand the term vegan, but oh my goodness. For my dinner, I had to try the vegan egg. And this little vegan egg, you're going to see a very short footage of me opening it. It was a bit squishy. It had similar consistencies to egg, but when I opened it, it wasn't like runny yolk inside, and I thought, oh, here we go, it's going to taste of plastic. And it tasted alright. It didn't taste too badly. And it wasn't until I was about a third of the way through that I noticed this little pile of what looked like Himalayan salt on my plate next door to it. And I was like, what does this taste like? Holy flip. This tasted like egg. And the only reason I know it tasted identical to egg, because my friend, who's only a vegetarian, tried it and said, geez, that tastes like egg. So the idea is that you spoon a bit of the egg and you dip it in this salt or whatever it was. They wouldn't tell us what was in there. And I actually tasted egg. It blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. And a meal alongside that, which you'll see on my Instagram, a gorgeous picture, was like a jackfruit beef salad, which was so hot that it actually got half of my cold out of my body because it was so spicy. So that was good. But oh my God. Guys, I just ate my first vegan egg, and all the vegan egg alternatives I've tried, they just don't do it for me. They just, I mean, if you like them and can make scrambled tofu, that's lovely. But I do like the idea of a vegan egg, and this one tasted identical. Can you see my chuffed face? I'm so happy. So that was Venturing in Vietnam, part 4. Still working out at the gym, although I didn't go today, as in the tour, because well, it was 7:30 to 6 in the evening, and I wanted a vegan egg rather than going and pressing some weights on a Sunday. So that was Venturing in Vietnam, part 4. Check out part 5 very, very soon.
Is it like rubberish?